Yes, I did tell you that I wasn't going to talk to anyone else on the phone. I'm worn out. I'm finished. I simply express my level of interest and let you know when I'm done playing. I'm not going to play with you on this phone any longer. Because you are the one who receives every white person's criticism. You keep accusing your stupid ass. Like, stop putting your stuff on me. I don't want to hear any of that. A viral new video shows YB's wife yelling at him and confronting him for infidelity. After doing time in prison, NBA YoungBoy truly returned home and pledged his allegiance to the shorty who had kept him down the entire time. We are discussing a man who married his wife while incarcerated, had her tattooed on him, and returned home just to cheat with several side girls, all of whom exposed him online. Family, this isn't your typical cheating incident. This kind of disrespect is so extreme that it has the entire internet buzzing. This narrative is crazy from beginning to end, so allow me to explain everything to you. No cap. The beginning of it all. Let me explain how Y and Jacine even began to rock together so you can see how we got here. Since the summer of 2020, these two have been confined. Shorty made the decision to stick by the boy through everything at that point. We are discussing Jacine Michelle. And this girl has truly been through everything with him. Jacine isn't just any girl that happened to cross YB's path. This young woman was there when he was still trying to navigate this strange industry, finding out his job and dealing with all of his legal issues. The official announcement was made in the summer of 2020. She was totally committed to this guy after that. They also had children together. Jacine gave this man children, and she has been raising them while he is out here doing whatever he wants. This is the kind of actual family that we are discussing. These children look up to their parents who are attempting to maintain the family's unity under all of this turmoil. We're dealing with women like that. Someone who prioritizes her family and her partner, even if he doesn't deserve it. This is where things get really crazy though. In reality, why wed this girl? We're not talking about a publicity gimmick or a phony romance. This man truly made Jacine his wife by putting a ring on her finger. The streets were aware of their seriousness, but it was meant to have some significance when they legalized it. When loyalty was put to the test, that was meant to be the ultimate expression of respect and dedication. Guess who was present every day in 2024 when YB was imprisoned on federal charges? Jasmine, while he was arguing his argument, this shorty was holding it down. She had the option to go. Had the option to find someone else? No, she remained faithful. She could have declared, "I'm done with this life." Allow me to illustrate the situation for you all. As Y was seated in that jail, Jacine was raising their children alone while juggling the burden of having a husband. Incarcerated and still making sure he had all he needed. That's the ride or die mentality we're discussing. She was doing more than just writing letters. The entire business was being held down by her. This man was facing significant charges from the federal government, and his freedom was not assured. I can't do this anymore. And leaving would have been Jacine's simple course of action. However, she didn't. And there you have it, true love. At least, that's what she believed it to be. Jacine was demonstrating her uniqueness, while other girls were abandoning them as soon as they were imprisoned. She was demonstrating to Y that she was not leaving, that she would be present when he returned home, and that their family would make it through this ordeal. In reality, such loyalty is uncommon in these streets. But family, this is when things become insane. What is the first thing this guy does when he is released in 2025? Begin playing with other girls. Furthermore, we're not talking about one-night stands or fleeting relationships. This guy was out there luring these girls into believing they were unique by making promises. We started with Paris McCoy. This girl now believed she was going to be selected, believed that she would be the one to alter YB's playing style. However, allow me to explain what actually transpired in this case. We beat with a vow to look after her and everything. This girl actually quit her job, knowing full well that he has a whole wife at home. He tells her that he wants her to be his girlfriend. She felt special and different from all the other girls he had dated because of this guy's smoothness with it. That's some manipulating type right there. Paris even said she met Jacine and that Jacine was okay with the whole thing because WB told his wife, I can cheat. But you can't. Imagine being married to someone who informs you up front that he is exempt from the restrictions, but you had better not even consider leaving the house. Here's the genuine tea, though. Both sides were being played by YB. He explained to Paris that his wife was aware of her and didn't mind, while most likely saying something very different to Jacine. That's the way these cunning men work. To continue playing their games, they keep everyone in the dark about what's actually happening. Paris genuinely thought this guy would look after her, because YB promised her the world. She abandoned her job and most likely strained her relationships with her family and friends. And it most likely appeared real for a moment. He most likely spent money on her, took her out, and gave her the impression that she was enjoying the good life. However, YB simply left her hanging after growing weary of Paris. Nothing, no job, no money. This girl went from believing she was going to get married to being left all alone. That's when she became aware that she had been played. The true drama began at that point. Paris retaliates to the initial exposure. What did Paris do after realizing she had been duped? She revealed everything on the internet, criticized him for defrauding her and being a manipulator. I'll tell you what, she didn't keep anything back. When Paris went live, everything fell apart. She described how, for months, YB pleaded with her to quit her work, promising to pay all of her bills and costs. When she voiced concerns about quitting her work, she claimed he continued telling her, "That's what I'm here for." However, this guy left her high and dry when the bills arrived. Consider resigning from your position because someone made a commitment to help you, but then abruptly stopped paying. That right there is some cold-heartedness. Paris also described how WB tricked her into getting his name permanently inked on her body. That's manipulation at an advanced level. You know, you're not serious about someone when you persuade them to have your name permanently inked on their body. For the remainder of her life, the tattoo will serve as a reminder of how she was played. She further revealed that although she was with YB while he was in Europe, he kept her confined to hotel rooms the entire time, preventing her from even enjoying the vacations. She was only there to make things easier for him. You don't treat someone you care about that way. You treat someone you're utilizing in that way. The internet exploded when Paris began to speak. While some criticized her for interacting with a married man, others felt sorry for her since they could see how she was duped. In any case, YB's business was in the streets and the narrative was public. The double betrayal situation at Malou. But hold on, things get worse. Y sends his wife Jacine to France for what appears to be a romantic holiday when all of this Paris drama is going on. Social media was flooded with the images of them appearing content. YB is behaving like the ideal husband. Jacine most likely believed that her partner was at last prepared to prioritize their family. However, this is the actual tea that left everyone in awe. This guy was sneaking around in hotel rooms with an Instagram beauty named Malou Trage during their entire stay in France. Malou genuinely believed that this girl was unique, believed she would be selected instead of the wife. Malou Trade isn't your typical chick. She is a well-known Instagram model who has her own business, following, and finances. She likely believed she was different from all the other girls YB had dated when he began to play with her. She likely believed that her reputation and appearance would force him to divorce his marriage. But WB was using the same strategy on Malou that he did on Paris. She felt like she was the one since he was promising her things and saying that he wanted her to bear his child. Malou began making plans for an entire future with this guy since she was so sure she was unique. But the disrespect was insane. Y was secretly meeting up with Malou and sending her texts while Jacine was in France, believing she was on a romantic getaway with her husband. Consider yourself the wife in that circumstance. You believe that your man is finally putting your relationship first. But in reality, he is only using the vacation as an excuse to cheat on you. Malou's breakdown. Malou became upset when YB chose his wife over her for the public trip to France. She understood that despite his assurances, she would always be treated as a side chick. She made the decision to go nuclear at that point. Everything was broadcast live by Malou. She was discussing YB's desire for her to bear his child. Referring to the 14th baby, she was quite rude, disparaging Jacine and everything. This girl genuinely believed she would take the wife's place. Here's what really got me, though. Malou was acting as though she should be proud of becoming the 14th baby mama. Are you really interested in becoming simply another number in this man's collection? Girl, do you truly believe that's winning? These side chicks are experiencing that kind of delusion. Malou revealed that Y was playing the same game on several girls at once, but instead of feeling ashamed about being played, she pretended to be unique for being picked to be played. Malou was live talking crazy, saying things like, "The same dude is trying to get me and 1,000 other girls pregnant." She also expressed her wish that she had never become involved in the matter. SHEYB had an entire system in place, as evidenced by the way Malou was speaking. When I tell you I wish I would have never known about what was really going on behind the scenes. That tells you everything you need to know about how messy YB's personal life really is. He kept each girl believing they were the only one while lying to them and making the same promises. In addition to being some next-level player behavior, his wife was treated disrespectfully. The blueprint for manipulation, the way YB works. Since YB has an entire system that he uses to manipulate these girls. Allow me to now explain his manipulation techniques to you all. He has likely been honing this deliberate, meticulous manipulation for years. It is hardly amateur hour. The first step is the selecting procedure. Ib didn't choose girls at random. He goes after particular kinds. Girls who have something to lose, like Paris's job. Or who have status and believe they are unique, like Malou's Instagram following. He is searching for women who are either confident enough to believe they can alter him or desperate enough to sacrifice everything for him. The second step is the phase of love bombing. Y goes over and beyond to make his target feel unique after he has chosen them. He is most likely lavishing them with lavish presents, trips, attention, and future assurances. At this point, he informs them that they are unique among the other girls. Said this was a first for him, that they will be the ones to transform his life. Paris spoke, recounted how he pleaded with her to resign from her position for months. There was no impulsive decision made. She felt under psychological pressure for months, believing that her resignation was evidence of her love for him. He most likely gave her the impression that she would take that risk if she truly trusted him. The isolation strategy is the third step. Here is where YB truly demonstrates his ability to manipulate. He persuades these girls to sever their connections with their networks of support. Paris lost her independence and most likely her co-workers when she quit her job. YB kept her sequestered in hotel rooms around Europe, away from anyone who could affect her thoughts. Classic manipulation is isolation, which turns the victim entirely reliant on the manipulator. Cash, relationships, approval, everything. The manipulator becomes your entire universe when you have no one else to talk to. The gaslighting game is step 4. It's likely that YB caused these ladies to doubt their own reality. Paris most likely made his wife feel crazy since she was jealous when he began to inquire about her. He most likely gave Malou the impression that she was being overly demanding when she asked for more commitment. "You can't rule, but I can cheat." Apparently, he told Jacine, it is outright gaslighting. By giving his wife the impression that she doesn't deserve the same respect he expects of her. He is forcing her to accept a double standard. The misleading promises are step 5. Malou and Paris both mentioned that YB had promised them children. Now, take a moment to consider that. This man has already had several children with several women, but he is manipulating others by promising to get pregnant. He is aware that discussing having children together gives these girls a sense of specialness and permanence in his life. Here's the problem, though. It's unlikely that Y ever planned to genuinely have children with these girls. All he was doing was leveraging that promise to keep them interested and give them hope that they would be with him in the future. The hot and cold treatment is step 6. Y truly got into these girls' brains at this point. One day they undoubtedly feel like queens because he is all over them. He was likely cold and aloof the following day, leaving them to question what they had done wrong. The girls are continuously pursuing the high of his attention, which leads to a vicious cycle akin to addiction. Your brain becomes addicted to attempting to relive the happy times. When someone treats you horribly at times and wonderfully at others, these girls stay despite the clear warning signs because of this. The triangulation strategy is step 7. Without the women's knowledge, why was pitting them against one another? To ease Paris's guilt, he most likely assured him that Jacine was cool with their relationship. By retaining all these ladies, he most likely gave Malou the impression that his marriage was a show to give her the impression that she was the one in the genuine connection, in different bubbles. With each one, he could steer the story. None of them had a complete understanding of the situation. The discard phase is step 8. YB abruptly stopped talking to these girls when he became fed up with them, or when they began to make unreasonable demands. Just gone, with no explanation or resolution, because it leaves the victims perplexed and in need of clarification. This is the most heinous aspect of the manipulation. Paris described how he promised to look after her but ended up leaving her penniless. When Malou began to expect to be treated like the wife, she was discarded. Despite the fact that they did nothing wrong, both females most likely spent weeks trying to find out what went wrong. In YB's game, they just fulfilled their function, the effect on the mind. Let me explain the psychological effects of this kind of manipulation on these girls. Because it's not just damaged feelings here. This concerns actual psychological harm. Trauma bonding occurs when someone abandons you after love bombing you. You begin to think that the manipulator is the only person who can restore your sense of well-being because your brain becomes addicted to the highs and lows. For this reason, even after WB played them, these girls most likely still harbored affections for him. These girls lose their identity as a result of the seclusion strategy. When you sacrifice your freedom, your friends, or your job for someone else, you begin to define yourself by that relationship. When a relationship ends, you're not sure of yourself, no longer. These girls begin to doubt their own judgment as a result of the gaslighting. They begin to wonder if they were being too demanding. Perhaps they ought to have shown greater tolerance. They may have pushed him out. After the relationship ends, that self-doubt may persist for years. Manipulation by the wife. But here's what really gets me. It's likely that Y is also playing a game on his wife, Jacine. It's plain rude to say, I can cheat, but you can't rule. The goal of the psychological manipulation is to get her to accept less than she is worthy of. Jacine most likely came to believe that YB's infidelity was significant, that these other girls are but fleeting diversions, that she is the only one who is truly important. He is presumably giving her the impression that he wouldn't have to cheat if she were a better wife. Jacine's silence during all of this turmoil suggests that she was likely socialized to tolerate this conduct. Y most likely spent years teaching her to be content with whatever attention he offers her, to not ask questions, and to not demand anything. The true strength is the wife's silence. Now, this is what I find truly absurd. Jacine never responded, posted, or clapped back during all of this turmoil or the side women who were publicly exposing her husband. She simply remained silent as these girls vented about her online. Take a moment to consider that. Several ladies are exposing your husband on the internet. They are discussing his desire to conceive them. You remain silent as they treat you disrespectfully. That requires a different kind of fortitude, or perhaps a different kind of situational acceptance. Jacine might have easily defended herself online. She had the opportunity to call out these girls for being homewreckers, expose them, and discuss how they knew he was married. But she chose not to do any of those things. She maintained her dignity and kept her mouth shut, although some may argue that she is weak for not advocating for herself. I believe it demonstrates that she is functioning at a higher level. She is aware that engaging in an internet feud with side chicks won't make any difference. Whatever she posts on social media, her spouse will continue to cheat. Her spouse will continue to cheat.